All right. Hello again. So I am a 20-year-old ADHDer, meaning that I am both autistic and also have ADHD. I am a Humanities and Social Sciences Flinders University undergraduate student. In my presentation, I'm going to be talking about autism and our communities, non-autistic people who use autism as an identifier, and neurotypical parents who speak for autistic people. I would like to start off by acknowledging that although this presentation was researched, it is also based upon my own opinions and experience and does not speak for all autistic people. All right. I would like to start off by acknowledging those parents whose voices are not being heard, those parents who are doing their best each and every day, those parents who feel alone and have no community. I would like to let you know that I see you. I see everything that you are doing, and you are not alone. To make positive change, we will need all of our voices working together in collaboration. I do not want any of our voices to be left behind. I want to make space for all of our voices to be heard. Okay, so autism mum, autistic mama, autism family, and autism community, in my experience, can however be harmful when they are neurotypical or allistic people who use autism as an identifier, even though they are not autistic. For autistic people, autism is who we are. It is our daily, lifelong, lived experiences. It can be a huge part of our identity, culture, and sense of self. It helps us to articulate how we see and interact with the world. Because of social stigma, a lack of understanding, and rigid neurotypical systems on which the world is built, autistic people experience discrimination, exclusion, and feelings of loneliness. There is a privilege in being neurotypical while living in a neurotypical world. Using autism as your identifier does not spark the same kind of discrimination. You are even praised as silent heroes. And while you are beside that autistic person in your life throughout those experiences, you do not have that experience firsthand. Autism is not something for you to use as an identity when you are not autistic. While there should be space for everyone, there is not. And predominantly that space is given to neurotypical or allistic people, meaning that it is not always a safe space for actually autistic people. In using autism as their identifier, they also directly, financially, and socially benefit. Some of these parents have their own businesses. They had an event at Parliament House, and they were in consultation with this ministry months before it was announced. And they are surrounded by community. While actually autistic people still have less employment opportunities, only now, here today, are we having an autistic-led event at Parliament House. And still, we often struggle to build community because the only spaces that currently exist are often taken up. If not for the loud, persistent, and tireless voices of neurotypical parents and advocates of autistic people, I expect that this ministry would not exist. We are grateful to those voices, as we do not always have the same capacity or neuroprivilege to be loud or persistent. But I would like to acknowledge that there are a number of autistic-led advocacy groups that have been working actively in this space for many years, even decades. Many who are experts in their field and qualified care practitioners, such as Yellow Ladybugs, In Tune Pathways, Reframing Autism, and the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, to name a few. Which brings me to my next point. We can speak for ourselves. In the survey conducted by us, discussed earlier this evening, between 92% and 95.5% of the respondents stated that neurotypical parents of autistic children, neurotypical service providers, and large service providers such as Autism SA do not speak for us or our children. As an autistic adult, I would like to call on you to encourage your child or that autistic person in your life to find their own voice, rather than speaking over them or for them. And please do not speak over or for actually autistic people who have found or are forming their own voice. To those making decisions that will impact us and our children, I call on you to include actually autistic voices in your policy design, not just the voices of neurotypical or allistic parents and care providers. As no actually autistic person has been hired within this ministry, when so many of us struggle with workplace exclusion, it is remiss of this ministry to not have autistic staff in a ministry for autism. To this government, I call on you to hire actually autistic people in this ministry because actually autistic people deserve to be a paid part of making and implementing change. To neurotypical and allistic people in these communities, please use your space and privilege to make space for actually autistic, neurodivergent and disabled voices and representation. Thank you.